So now what we're going to look at is applying skills of solving trigonometry equations within a practical context. So this question here, for example, there's this formula has been given to work out the length of the space at the top of a cylinder, where you've got this piston rod vertically going down. So the L is this gap in here, or the length. So what you're asked to do using this formula is find the length of the space after 100 milliseconds. So that is clearly giving you a value for the time, right? This 100 milliseconds. So that's telling you a value for the t. So we're going to replace in this expression here the t with the value of 100. So you're going to do it on your calculator. If you do 5 plus 4 times sine of 100, and you'd get the answer 8.9392, whole of the other digits, and if we then round that, so rounding that would give us a value to 2 decimal places. We'd say L was equal to 8.94 meters. And that's the first bit. So you've been given a formula, and the first bit is just a straightforward replace the t with a particular value. What you're then asked to do in part B is find the times, right? So that means that you're basically working this time, right? You're trying to work out t when the space is 7 centimeters long. So that's you being given the length this time. So up here we were given t and work out L. This is the other way round. So basically what you do with this is you take your equation expression. So in this case, right, our expression is L equals 5 plus the 4 sine t. So now we know what this length is, and what we're trying to do is work out what the t is. So we sort of switch this round a wee bit, and we're going to write down that 5, what we know is that 5 plus 4 sine t needs to be equal to the value of L, and the value of L here is 7. Now what you've set up for yourself is a trig equation that needs to be solved, and you've been doing that in the previous lesson, learning how to solve that. So we know to get rid of the 5 from there, and I try and isolate the x term, the sine t rather. So what we do next line of working, you'd be left with 4 sine t equals 2, and then you want to get rid of the 4 here, and you do that by dividing both sides by 4, because it's multiplying the sine t. So we end up with sine t equals 2 divided by 4, and of course 2 divided by 4, same thing as a half. So we get sine t equals a half. So now we need to solve this, and to solve this, remembering that we're looking for more than one value, but in the first instance you want to say, well, the sign is positive. So where does that happen? So drawing your cast diagram for yourself, and then ticking off where you will be looking for angles. So A, remember, stands for all angles between 0 and 90. Sin, cos and tan are all positive, so we're putting a tick there. And between 90 and 180, only the sign is positive, so we are trying to solve the sign being positive. So that means our first quadrant, we would be looking for an angle to work out t. We would do sine to the minus 1 of, use your half, and that will give you the value of t equals 30. And then in your second quadrant, you would therefore do 180 minus that 30, which gives us 150. So your conclusion, or your solution, the two values that you would be looking for would be t equals 30 seconds and t equals 150 seconds. So sometimes you will list both. Sometimes it might just be asking you about the first value or the second one, but here you needed both values. Let's have a look at a second example. Right, so one of these Ferris wheel type things. Emma goes on the big I. Her height is above the ground is given by this formula here that contains a trig expression in it. And t is the number of seconds after the start. So what you've been asked to do in this question, part A, calculate her height. So you're having to work out the height. That means you're having to work out h above the ground 20 seconds after the start. So that's essentially telling you the value of t, and you need to work out what h is equal to. So we will do part A by subbing into our formula, minus 31 cos t plus 33. So if we sub in, we get h equals minus 31 times cos of 20 plus you get 33. And if you do that on the calculator, right, these are usually worth 2 marks. You'd get a mark for doing the actual subbing in, replacing the letter when you do this. And the second part of that is do that on the calculator. You'll get the value of 3.8695. Whole of the other digits. I'll put an extra 6 in there, apologies. Right, so 3.8695, and then we would round to get our answer to 2 decimal places, 3.87 metres. And that would be part A. So part B and C kind of go together. When will she first reach a height of 60 metres? So in this part B, you're actually being told the h value. H is 60, and when will she reach that means that they're asking you to work out what the time is. When will she next be at a height of 60 metres above the ground? So that is like the second value of the t. So we kind of do B and C together. If you think about it, right, as the wheel is going round, imagine this was like 60 metres here. So on the way up, she reaches a height of 60 metres, and then on the way back down, she'd reach a height of 60 metres as well. So that's why it's asking about the two times. So in a sense, it's kind of B and C doing this together. So we know the height has to be 60 metres. So using our formula that we've got minus 31 cos t plus the 33. We know that that is equal to 60. So now you want to be solving this. So that means we're going to subtract the 33 from each side. That would leave me with minus 31 cos t equals 27. And then I would need to divide by the negative 31 on both sides. And that would lead me to cos t equals negative 27 over 31. And now I need to solve that, and in order to solve that I need to notice that the cos is negative. So trying to make sure I pick the right values for this cast diagram. You want to be saying, right, where's the cos going to be negative? So clearly not between 0 and 90 because everything is positive, but between 90 and 180 only sign's positive, so that would mean the cos was negative. Between 180 and 270 only the tan is negative, so that would mean that the cos was negative in there. But of course, in order to work out these two angles, I need to have found the one in the first quadrant. And to find your first quadrant angle, you need to ignore the negative. So, taking your calculator, you want to be doing cos to the minus 1 of your positive 27 over 31, and that's going to give us a value of t. That will give us the time rather, 29.4287, whole load other digits, round it to 2 decimal places, 29.43. So remember that this one, I'm going to put brackets round it, isn't really one of my final solutions. For that, I need the second and the third quadrant angles, or in this case times. So that's going to be 180 minus the 29.43, and that will give me 150.57. And this is of course seconds because it's time, and your third quadrant, you're going to do 180 plus the 29.43, so we end up with 209.43, and again that's seconds. So listing my final solution for, if you like, the answer for part B, when's the first time, you would be at height. So for part B it'd be 150.57, and then for part C your answer would be 209.43 seconds. So that's taken your skills of being able to solve trig equations, but can be a wee bit trickier. You might have an A and a B part where the first bit is just replacing one of the values, whereas the second part B is then going on and actually forming a trig equation and then solving it.